Hey friends, today we're talking about integers. An integer are all of the negative and positive whole numbers. Okay, so a whole number is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of its opposites, the negatives, are also integers. Okay, these negative integers are less than 0 and they're written with a negative sign, while positive integers are going to be greater than 0 and all have a plus sign or no sign at all. We sometimes write plus 2, but really if we write just 2, we still know that that's a positive 2. But we have to have that negative sign in order to know that it is a negative 2. Something for your notebook. 0 is neither negative nor a positive number. So please make sure that you have a number line and this right here. Also take any other notes that you want if you want to pause the video and do that now. Write an integer for each situation. An average temperature of 5 degrees below normal would look like this. Below is a clear indicator of negative and 5. So an average rainfall of 5 inches above, so we've got below here, now it's above, we know that's a positive 5, or we can just write 5. You try these on your own. Pause the video and take a second to do this. I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, make sure you had paused the video. Here we go. 6 degrees above means positive, or you can write it like this. 2 inches below means a negative 2. Let's look at some more examples. You can graph a set of integers on a number line. Let's graph these integers right here. Well, we know 0 is neither positive nor negative, and it's right in the middle. So there's our 0. Done. We know negative 6 is below 0, and it's right here. And we know positive 4 is above 0, and it's right here. Go ahead and try these, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, I'm going to reveal the answers right now, so make sure that you've taken a moment to go ahead and try them yourself. Okay, so we've got a negative 2, which is right here, a positive 8, which is right here, and a negative 7, which is right here. On this one, we've got negative 4, a positive 10, a positive 3, and a positive 7. Let's look at some more examples. Absolute value. Please write this in your notebook for me. Absolute value of a number is the distance between the number and 0 on a number line. So we always look at 0, and then we count the units that that number is from 0. So for example, negative 5, this is an absolute value sign, these two lines right here. So this is the absolute value of negative 5, which its distance from 0 is 5 units. Same with positive 5. Its distance from 0 is also 5 units. Even though they're opposites of each other, they have the same absolute value. Okay, absolute value just means take the value of the number or its distance from 0. Let's look at some examples. If I were to evaluate this one right here, negative 4 in its absolute value form is 4 units away from 0. Negative 5 in its absolute value form is 5 units away from 0. But this time they give us something else to do. They want us to subtract 2. So my real answer for this is not just the absolute value portion, but the whole thing. Now I have to evaluate this expression, and the answer is 3. Go ahead and try the ones below, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and tried this. Check it with a red pen with me, so get out your red pen and pause the video. Okay, here we go. Positive 8 in an absolute value form is 8 away from 0. Bring down my 2 on this one and my addition sign, and a negative 3 in its absolute value form is 3 units away from 0. Now I can evaluate 2 plus 3 is 5. Let's look at some more absolute value. What do you think about these? Okay, we know x is a variable. Write that down. It stands for any number, okay? So for this one, a negative x in its absolute value form is x. Let's jump to number 3. An x inside an absolute value sign is still x. Okay, let's not worry about this sign right now. If the x is in the absolute value, it's just x. We know that from 1 and 3. If then I tell you that it's actually a negative, then the negative sign goes on the outside. This is the negative absolute value. So what that means is I want you to figure out the absolute value, but then regardless of what it is, put the negative in front of it. Over here, we're doing the same thing. If you look at this one, the negative x, absolute value-wise, is x away from 0. But if I show you that it has a negative on the outside, then I want it to remain negative. So it's its negative absolute value. Those are a little bit different. Make sure you have all of these written down. So go ahead and try these 4 down here for me. Take a second and pause the video, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answer. Okay, if you tried these 2 would have been the easiest for you, right? Because they're something that we've already done. The absolute value of a negative 3, checking your answer with a red pen, would be 3. The absolute value of a positive 7 would just be 7. Now look at this one. The absolute value of 5 is 5. But I don't want the positive absolute value like I did in these 2. I want it to be negative. And for this one, it's a negative 8 on the inside, so it's a positive 8. But again, we've got that negative absolute value sign. So it's a negative 8. Okay, now that we've done that, I want you to take a second and try to complete these greater than or less than statements. If you need to, go back and use your number line. Remember, these are all getting smaller. Even though the number looks like it's getting bigger, it's like being in debt more and more and more. Okay, that's a bad thing. Versus making money on this side where these are all positives. Go ahead and try these for me. Pause the video, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video, and now you're checking it with a red pen. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6 units away from 0, which is bigger than 5 units, right? So 6 is greater than 5. Negative 11 versus an absolute value of 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. So if we compare these, I would rather have 4 in my $4 versus a debt of $11. Over here, we've got an absolute value of 21, which is negative 21, which is 21, and a positive 21, which is 21. So they're equal. Here we have an absolute value of a negative 8, which is 8, and a negative 13, which is 13. So I would rather have 13 than 8. Down here, we have 9 versus a negative 9. They're both 9s when they come out of the absolute value because they both have a distance of 0. So they're equal. And here we've got a negative 3 in absolute value form, which is 3, and 0 is less than 3. Okay, so now we've learned 2 things today. We've learned absolute value, make sure you have a clear definition, and we now have reviewed integers. So I will see you next time. Have a good day.